Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet. Sorry about the late start, but the internet was just internet, and we are in the middle of the great Bayou Blizzard of 2025. You know, we're just making it. We're just doing the best we can. There's snow, ladies and gentlemen, in the Bayou, so it's a day.
Yeah, we got questions around what's going on, right? Meanwhile, in Connecticut, it's snowy and no one is surprised or slowing down or even talking about it. So enjoy that day down there. And I'm going to enjoy the 2 degree weather up here. And welcome everybody to Grow Show, your checkup from the neck up, your way to start up your day. And we are honored for you to be here. I am so glad that I'm back, right? So thank you guys so much for being forgiving. And Kyle, thank you for being patient as I navigate these new wheels that we've got going. And yet, man, oh man, we are learning like crazy. Before we get into any material, before we get into growing today, we've got to compliment and reward consistent effort. We've got to award loyalty. We've got to award commitment. And Mr. Kyle Evans, happy anniversary, sir. 7 years, right?
Thank you, friend. Thank you. Yeah, it's 7 years, 7 years of marriage, right? A handful of years before that. People often ask me, Marcus, what's your secret? Because they're like, you portray someone who's really happy. You seem like someone who's got it together on the family front. And one of the things I'll say to that is, I am someone who's got it together on the family front. And here's the secret, guys: constant and never ending forgiveness and grace.
Yeah.
That's really the secret.
Yeah.
I'm a fallible human. They're a fallible human. How do we just look past that, learn, grow, and keep going? It's just it.
Agree completely, man. Agree completely. It's awesome, and it also helps that your wife is absolutely awesome. Okay, that minor factor there, right? And yet,
it's a big one.
But happy anniversary, brother. And that kind of leads us right into, we talked about and really dove deep last week into Quitters Week, right? And it was that trend that sometimes happens with involved. Well, this week we decided to talk about something a little bit different, something a little bit in alignment with what you've brought to the table the last 7+ years. And that, my friend, is consistency. All right, consistency. So we got Quitters Week last week, how to avoid it, how to navigate through that. And we're going to invite you guys to keep this mantra this year if you see fit, if it resonates with you. Consistency over intensity. You may be feeling like you got 25% in the tank today. Maybe, just maybe, that long weekend feels like it should be a little longer. All right, I get it. It's the Monday is Tuesday of all time, and yet you're here. And if you got 25%, show up with it. If you got 125%, show up with that too. And yet show up consistently versus, well, I don't have my A game, so I'm going to mail it in, right? Kyle, when you hear consistency, when you hear making that a trend, making that a habit, what's hitting your head?
That it's easy. That's my favorite one, right? Consistency is easy. Guys, there ain't nothing easy about consistency. It's simple. It's the simplest thing in the world, but it is one of, and at least in my opinion, don't let me color your life or with this advice. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. And I tell people to this day, I constantly play out the battle of consistency and achievement and getting into motion and getting into action in my head. I am wired lazy, people. I'm just going to tell you, if you give me the choice between all things, all results created equal, and I can either be lazy or I can be active, give me the sweatpants and the stuffed crust cheese pizza, because I am going to take it. It's not as simple as it's not as easy as it seems, but it's very simple.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the great thing is, being self-aware, though, you can create those roadblocks and those checkpoints that say, whoa, if I go too far down this, I know what is down the rest of this road. I know that I default to this. So showing up with consistency can be very small steps. You don't have to be, it's not a monumental achievement every day. It's all about just being there. Kyle, I'll give a little vulnerability for a second, right? Whenever I start a new routine, so let's go to the gym for a second. Whenever I start a new routine, especially super early in the morning when maybe I haven't gotten used to waking up, Man, I got to tell you, there's some mornings where waking up at 5 a.m., going down to the gym, and when I mean gym, I mean there is a bicycle that doesn't move. It just stays in place while I pedal on it. That's our gym. Okay. And sometimes I get on that thing and I am going, oh, school zone speed. And I'm just, the legs are moving. Am I breathing hard? Not really. Do I have more in the tank? Probably. And yet it's not here. And yet I get off that bike after 30, maybe 35, 40 minutes, whatever it may be. And even a not good workout, I still feel productive. I still feel like I showed up. And the crazy thing is, even when you don't feel like doing something and you do it, those are the most proud moments. Those are the moments that create that character inside that make you feel more confident throughout the day. Was it the best workout of the day? No. Did I do it? Yes. Now, what else can I do today that I don't feel like doing? And I think those small wins create that momentum, and that momentum can be that CEO's best friend.
I think you're spot on, man. Like, here's the thing, guys. When we talk about consistency, it also comes with clarity. We have to have clarity on what we need to be consistent on, because you can consistently be doing the wrong things, man.
Yeah.
I have a coaching client right now, and our last coaching call is like, hey, man, can we get super crystal clear on all of my numbers so I know exactly what to do each day? I said, heck yeah, baby, let's do that. So we Gary Kellered path in the math, right? Worked it through. Here's why I was so pleased to hear this. A few years ago, I was coaching a really, really good agent, and we came to his end of the year review. And he missed his mark. He missed his closing goal.
Okay.
And so we're going through the numbers. He's like, man, I worked really hard this year. You know, I did all the things and I'm still short, and the market's okay. Said, cool, let's go dive into the tail of the tape. Let's dive into the numbers. We went and looked at his numbers. He was off of his closing goal by literally the exact number of contacts he was off by. 5 contacts difference, right? When we're talking about almost exact, I mean, it was almost exact on the numbers. And he didn't miss them, like he didn't take off a month and miss them. He missed them by 1 or 2, maybe 5 here and there over an entire year. Guys, a lot of times in life, and this is the biggest mistake we make and the biggest load of crap we've been given, is that we lose by these massive, grandiose failures. That's incorrect. More often in life, we win or lose by small, compounding wins or failures every day over time.
You speaking about that example makes me go immediately to the Ed Milet speech at family reunion or at mega camp, forgive me. And he says, one more for your personal life, one more hug, one more kiss to your wife, one more cuddle puddle with the kids, one more. And then I go to work, one more call. Let's think about this just logically for just a second. What he just described was not a mail-in week of laziness, not a month where we went and vacationed in Europe and just forgot about business. What if he did one more phone call each and every day that he called a work day? And let's just go 40 weeks in the year, right? That's 3 months off, by the way, but 40 weeks in the year, that's an extra 200 phone calls if my math is correct. And out of that 200 calls, what's the close rate on that, right? Let's call it 15 to 20% if you're calling your database. Okay, awesome. That's some more deals for you. That's that 4 or 5 difference on closings. And for a lot of us out there with the average commission anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000, extra 4 or 5, that's some bread. Like, that's something to really consider as far as growth. And yet all I did was add 1 call per day. That's it. So it's those small moments that we just mail in at the end thinking that we're tired, we're out of gas, we're whatever it is. What if we just did one more? Are you willing to do one more every single day that you call a work day? Maybe it's on your way home. Maybe it's right before you end your lead gen. Oh, I'm tired. It's 11:58. I'm going to stop right here. Oh, one more. Can we just get in one more? It could mean 4 to 5 to 6 closes, if not more, right?
It's the great challenge that we have, guys. So you hear this a lot and you will hear it again. What can we do to become more consistent this week? Not what can we do to hit more home runs, Not what can we do to be the biggest, strongest, best, craziest, awesome agent. What can we do small
That's it.
to win? Gary Keller talks about this all the time. He says if you want to go big, you got to first start by going small, really well, really intentional, really consistent. What is the one thing? Guys, if I had $1 every time, this is episode 174. If I had $1 every time me and Marcus said, be consistent, go small, one thing, you can even see the book right here. It's here for a reason because it's that important. I would have like $500. All right. It's that important. You're going to hear it over and over and over again. Stop sleeping on the truth. Wake up.
Well, what do we avoid, Kyle? What do we typically avoid in business or in our mindset or in our growth? What do we typically avoid?
Is it a 4-letter word that starts with W called work?
It typically is, man. We avoid the work though that we're fearful of, that we've been avoiding, that we're scared of potentially. Guys, so when we think consistency and we think about the things that have created quitters in the past, literally, what's one small thing you could implement? What's a new mantra? What's something that you could do? Just one. Is it one more call? Is it one more text? Is it one more gratitude call or one more letter out, or what is it? I wonder if we applied the rule of one more to business and then one to personal, how it would show up for you. And give yourself 90 days of that one more activity and see what happens. You might just fall, trip, and luck into having a new habit that serves you at the highest level. What if a call on the way home to a client became a habit, and every single day you had one client where you could give 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. No rules about the 3 to 5 minute lead gen, right? Just give one client all they need. What would happen? I wonder how many relationships would bond further. I wonder how many referrals would be out there. Because remember, connection before transaction, that's just business. What about personal? What's the mantra that you choose to pick up and carry the rest of the day or the rest of the year? Kyle, when you think about something you could be more consistent with that's on your radar, because we're go vulnerability here, right? We're wide open. We're open book. What's one thing that is on your radar for 2025 to be more consistent with, sir?
Well, my single word that some business people like to do is consistency, and it was my word last year, so why not stay consistent with it? Wink. I think the thing that I am going to be more consistent of, or I'm currently being more consistent of, is what I do in my downtime.
Talk to me.
Hear me, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I am not one with a ton of downtime, and yet I do have it. And sometimes, guys, since Marcus just wants to turn the spotlight on old Kyle today, sometimes, guys, I like to take these thumbs here and I like to get on the sticks. I like to do a little gaming. I like to get a little gaming in. I'm not even going to play about it. Your boy is a kind of secret nerd, like the game. Here's the thing, though. Sometimes when I do it, I can do it for too long. Just like anything, right? Like we start doing it and we stay too long. And in those moments, I am not telling you not to recharge. I'm not telling you not to do things you enjoy. I'm not telling you not to just fill your cup some. What I am telling you is sometimes we do too much of that. And me personally, when I do it too long, I don't realize while I'm doing it. But afterwards, man, I ask myself, I feel a little guilty. I'm like, man, did I really need to do that for that long? Like, when I die, am I going to be like, thank God I beat Assassin's Creed? So glad I beat that game. Like, my life is forever changed because, like, no, I'm not. But what happens if I was like, hey, man, instead of over a whole year, 100 hours of gaming, I had 100 books I read? Like, how different is my life? How different is my relationships, my intellect? And then where does that serve me? Warren Buffett calls compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Where does that compound interest of doing something a little better during my downtime show up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now? And so that's kind of something I'm working on, man, is kind of tone down some TV, tone down some entertainment, if you will, and start reading a little more, start praying a little more, meditating a little more. Like, there's different things that I can do to recharge that aren't necessarily wasteful, if you will.
All right, so let me play devil's advocate for a second, because inevitably there's somebody out there in a headspace that maybe isn't open to listening right now. Okay,
Sure.
so let me be that person. Yeah, Kyle, I get it, man. I'm not going to go ahead and live my life where every single moment it has to be growth, 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 and I can't relax and I can't. So I want to play my game, or I want to do my online shopping, or I want to fill in whatever vice I need to in this example right here. Um, how do I find this balance, man? Because some people are like, all you're doing is talking about growth, 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 and you never relax. So how does someone find that equilibrium?
Yeah, man. I think it's moderation is key.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's actually, and here's the thing, devil's advocate style, there's actually science that shows that when we are in a doing a creative thing or a restful thing, that we actually get better at solving problems. Our imagination sparks, right?
Yeah.
Some of the biggest inventions, some of the biggest equations solved came shortly after a nap, shortly after a rest period. So they are vastly important. The thing is, we have to do it in moderation. For instance, if it's an hour you're doing, or if we're being realistic, the average American watches 4 hours of TV a day, if not more. So instead of 4 hours, can it be two? Can it be one? I'm doing a call later for a coach who used to coach me, Jason Massengale, and I get to be on his coaching thing. And I'll never forget, man, years ago when we were coaching, I told him, I think I'm going to quit watching TV this year. And he was like, cool, and I love it. Is that realistic? Right? Like,
Right.
and he was right. Like, that's not realistic. How can you moderate? How can you temper some of these things to make it a little better? So I think that's the balance factor is, hey man, do it. There's truth in that, but are you doing it too much?
Mm-hmm. I think I've always struggled with this a little bit until about 2 years ago, when I stopped listening to quote unquote rules of engagement from business minds or anybody else out there. And I came to the realization that it boiled down to a common sense thing that needed systems. Number one, the common sense is, how do you feel after 1 hour of playing the game? How do you feel after 2 or 3? And I'm saying play the game. Y'all insert whatever you need to here as far as what's distracting you. Um, and then, like, do I feel fulfilled at the end of the week from those activities, or does reading 10 pages in a book before I go into that vice, reading a chapter, listening to a pod, like literally anything, do I need to check that growth box a little bit more because I'm feeling guilty? Or do I feel pretty balanced right now? I think you've got to learn that about yourself individually, and you can only learn by doing. And yet I do agree. I don't know if 3 to 4 hours of Netflix or Assassin's Creed or whatever else is going to have compounding effects for you. They may have compounding effects against you. But here's what I also think about in the family front. How many memories do I create by playing video games by myself? Now, if it's with kids or something, that's completely
Sure.
different. But like,
Different thing. Yeah.
yeah, how many memories do me and my wife have from watching Netflix? Like, versus trying to make pasta for the first time and we blow up half the kitchen, right? or taking on some arts and crafts project with your 7-year-old, right? Whatever it is. What about those type of evenings where it's phones free, screen free, and we just spend a couple hours doing something? Like, it doesn't matter what it is, just something. So there's a little call to action, little not a thumbs down, like you got to do that, but just some clarity on, I wonder what else could serve you at a high level.
There's this thought that's been rolling around my head in reflective time this weekend, right? With the anniversary and family time, I've had a lot of reflective time. And this one came to me about health because it was also on my mind about some of the people I'm coaching and some of the things we're talking about. When you are, let's say, 80, 90 years old, God willing, and you're coming to the end of your life, and you sit there and someone's like, oh, wow, your health is this way. Did you know that if you actually ate this much better your entire life, you would have had another 10 years? But unfortunately, you're going to die right now. Like, what would you do to go back and change? Like, would it really have been as big? Or would you have been like, man, I'll do whatever it takes right now to get that extra 10 years. I'll do whatever it takes. Like, we wait sometimes until things are at the end or the worst that they possibly can be to make a change. And So I've just been thinking about that. And if it's not health for you, it's like we're talking about TV or, relationships, calling friends, being more present with family. Like, don't wait until the end, or don't wait until it's too far gone or it's over, or, whatever. It has to be so bad for you to be like, man, I wish I would have made a change. Do something now. Like we're talking about with consistency this week. Do something now that can consistently grow over time to build you the reward or the life by design that you're looking for.
Your example and your thought process fell right into what we learned at Mark King's event last week. A 20-year-old that starts investing and wants to have $2 million net worth that's growing for them at the age, like retirement, right? 2 million, just chilling in one of the buckets. At 20 years old, they can start out with a $60 a month investment, right? And yet at 45 years old, you go up to almost $1,800 per month investment. And the power of time can really help as long as those good habits are forming, right? And also think about how often has a really good deal come across your desk or your phone and you didn't have the money for it. I wonder, had we started saving 10 years ago, if you could be the investor versus just working for tips that we call commission, right? So think about that same example in life. What could you be doing now that you don't know what you're investing in? You don't know what the benefits are, and yet you know they're going to be great. What could we do now to serve us at that high level? Kyle Evans, dropping bombs this morning. Well done, sir.
Hey, we're just here for the people. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Snowmageddon 2025.
Or regular Tuesday in
Yeah,
Connecticut.
whatever, tomato, whatever it is, guys. Thank you for being here. Do us a favor, man. We're here for you guys. Help us grow this thing. Help us give this message to as many people as possible. Invite them to come take place, share it, comment, like, do all the things to help us out. And man, we look forward to serving you all week long and the whole year, guys. We have Mr. J. Gray, Mr. Myrtle Beach tomorrow. Awesome agent out of that area coming to hang out and pour into you guys. So, man, Marcus, thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, man. We're going to have a good week, guys. Y'all have a good one. Let's go get it.